We're doing baby back ribs with a ranch dry rub. First thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna make this ranch rub. Now, for the rub, I have a half cup of dry buttermilk. To that, I'm gonna put in 1 tablespoon of dried parsley.
What's dried buttermilk?
So dried buttermilk is buttermilk that's been dehydrated into a powder. So you get the tartness and the flavor of buttermilk. It's just dehydrated in powder form. So now I'm gonna put in 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. So Liv, you're always saying, like, because I'm always using the fresh garlic, you're like, could I use garlic powder? Could I use,
so much easier.
This is your moment. 2 teaspoons of dill powder. These are all the things that are in ranch. 2 teaspoons of dried chives. 1 teaspoon of onion flakes. And 1 teaspoon of onion powder. So this is the base for this ranch rub. So we whisk this together. If you love ranch as much as many people do, save some of the rub for later. You're gonna love it on most everything. So, all right, here is now my rib rub. To the rib rub, I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of kosher salt and about a tablespoon of coarse ground black pepper. For the ribs, today we have baby backs. So there's 2 basic style of ribs. There's baby back and St. Louis. Okay, now we need to clean on the back of these ribs. And most ribs, they'll sometimes do them at the butcher shop for you, but typically they have the silver skin on the back. So we need to take the silver skin off for 2 reasons. It's not delicious to eat, and we also want to let some of that smoke permeate the meat. So you just grab a towel, and you could see it's coming up, and you just pull it, and it pulls right off. And that's garbage, no need for it. So I'm just gonna sprinkle all the way across here with my rub on both sides. And remember, all our seasonings in here, our salt, our pepper, our buttermilk, all that good stuff. And the ribs have a little bit of natural moisture, which is gonna help this adhere. And that's what we want. If they feel very dry to you, you could always give them a little spritz with a little bit of cider or even water, or rub them with the lemon like I said earlier. Now we take the rest of the ribs, the rub. I got my ranch rub on the ribs. Now I'm gonna get my grill ready. Now, I like to cook ribs a little faster than most, so I'm going 1-1-1. The first hour is the ribs unwrapped. They're gonna start the smoking procedure. The internal temperature of the rib is gonna get to about 140 degrees, which is when it stops taking on smoke in the meat. The second hour, we're gonna wrap the ribs in foil. We're gonna let them continue to go. The third hour, we're gonna unwrap the ribs, spritz them with a little bit of pickle juice, so some of that smoke could stick to the exterior of the meat, and then the ribs will be done. So I have my grill set up with indirect heat. So all my coals are in the back. There are no coals on the front. And to the grill in the pit, I'm gonna add a little bit of water because we need some moisture floating around in there. So we're gonna stick this pan right in this opening, like so. I could have put the pan in first and then poured the water, and it would have been easier. Okay, so put the grate back on. Now we're gonna take our 2 slabs of ribs, bone side down. We're gonna put them over this little steamer water bath.
Why are you doing bone side down?
Bone side down because I always start them that way. They're gonna get some nice color on the top. The bones are gonna protect the meat from drying out on the bottom. And so we always smoke ribs meat side up. So this lid goes down. We're gonna maintain about a 325 degree temp. We could adjust our vents on top and the bottom to do that. For 1 hour, we're gonna let these go before we wrap them in foil. So if you hold the foil.
Yes,
I'm
got it, I'm on it.
With my first slab of ribs, and these are a third of the way cooked. One of the things that people get a little bit confused of with smoking meat is once meat reaches about 140 degrees, it's done taking smoke in. The inside of the meat will no longer get smoky.
Okay.
So these are at about 140 degrees now. So I'm gonna wrap them in foil, which is gonna help them cook a little faster and
But you don't care about that smoke anymore, so
I don't care about the smoke
can wrap.
anymore, and it's gonna retain some moisture.
Gotcha.
And then the last hour, I'm gonna take the foil off, and when I spray the liquid on there, the last hour, liquid makes smoke stick. So they stop taking smoke on the interior of the rib, but then when I spray them with that pickle juice,
It'll just get an exterior little bit of
the smoke is
flavor.
gonna stick to the exterior for that last hour. So that's how you get a nice, evenly smoked rib that's gonna be really, really juicy. And we're doing these at 325, so it's in 3 hours we got ribs. So the last thing that we're gonna do with this ribs is I'm opening them back up. They've been cooking for another hour in the foil, and they're getting pretty tender now. You can see they're starting to kind of, that's what we're looking for. They're starting to bend. So now this last kind of run with them, we're gonna spritz them with a little bit of liquid. So a lot of times in recipes you'll see apple cider, some apple cider vinegar, some water, different things that people spritz them with to get a little bit of moisture on there, but it's not really to get moisture, it's more so that smoke adheres to the outside of the ribs. What I love to do is you take pickles. So I only have one pickle left, but I have a lot of pickle juice. But pickle typically has salt, vinegar, sugar, and some good spices. So you just take a sprayer and you put the sprayer in your leftover pickle juice and you spray your ribs with the pickle juice.
That is a hilarious tip.
Oh, I love pickle
You like that tip?
I do.
So you mist them with the pickle juice, and then we're gonna close the lid. These are gonna continue to cook. They're gonna take on some of that exterior smoke and have a little bit of pickly goodness.
And they're gonna be a little tangy.
They are.
Yeah?
So
Yeah.
look, Lizzie, look at those ribs just shimmering
Look at that.
away.
Pickle juice do its magic.
So I'm just gonna give these one last kind of spritz.
I don't even think that's necessary. I think you just like doing that little
I just
trick.
like doing my little pickle spritz. Those are just about there. And then look at these ribs. So I just took them off, and you see how they start shrinking down the bone a little bit? That's a good sign that they are tender and ready to go. And as I pull them back, they start to gently pull away. And then I always cut from the backside. See the bone, go right in between each bone. And if you have a favorite barbecue sauce, you could certainly add a little bit of sauce to these. You know me, Lizzie, I like the rub and
Yep.
the rib and the smoke.
You like the meat.
I like the meat. So these are still gonna have tons of flavor without sauce because of our ranch rub. Oh boy. So I'm gonna take a full rib bite.
All right, how's the rib?
Well, one, the rib is cooked pretty good. The meat is coming up, but it's not completely falling off the bone. That's what you want with the rib. You know, the smoke ring, you get a better smoke ring if the ribs start super cold and you bring them up and then they develop that ring as they go. So I'm not worried about that. And I gotta tell you, the ranch rub is super yummy.